His smirk said it all. That single crooked twist of his lips as he leaned across the conference table and whispered, "This is all you can handle, babe," still echoes in my chest like a bruise that never quite healed. I was standing there in front of our entire team at Apex Creative, heart hammering, slides glowing behind me with the campaign I had bled for. Months of sleepless nights, skipped dinners, and quiet tears in the bathroom so no one would see. Alex, my Alex, the man who once held my hand under this very table and told me I was unstoppable, looked at me like I was a fragile little girl playing dress-up in the big leagues. The team chuckled nervously. A few heads nodded as if they agreed. And me? I smiled. I always smiled, because that's what I did. I was the one who kept the peace, who made things beautiful, who carried the weight so everyone else could shine. We had been together 2 years. I thought we were building something real. I thought the late nights we spent brainstorming together meant partnership. I thought the way he kissed my forehead after every presentation meant pride. But that smirk, it was the first crack in the glass I had refused to see. I pushed through the meeting anyway. My voice stayed steady, my ideas sharp. The client loved it. The boss clapped me on the shoulder and said, "Well done, you really stepped up." Alex just leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, that same smirk lingering like smoke. Later that night, when we got home to our little apartment with the fairy lights I had strung up myself, I asked him why he'd said it. He laughed, pulled me into his lap, and murmured, "Come on, I was just looking out for you. You get so stressed. I didn't want you to burn out." His fingers traced my cheek the way they always did when he wanted to smooth things over. I let him, because love makes you believe the lie. But what I didn't know that day was that the smirk wasn't protection. It was a warning. 2 weeks later, everything shattered. I stayed late again, finalizing the client deck for the biggest pitch of the year. My fingers flew across the keyboard, perfecting every detail, the colors, the story, the emotional hook that would make the brand unforgettable. I saved it, emailed it to Alex like I always did for his fresh eyes, and went home exhausted but proud. The next morning, I walked into the office and felt the air change. People were whispering, heads turned away from me. When I opened the shared drive to check the final file, my stomach dropped. My entire campaign, the one I had poured my soul into, was gone. In its place was a new deck titled Final Pitch, Alex Rivera. Every slide, every idea, every line I had written now had his name at the bottom. I stood there frozen, coffee turning cold in my hand. When I confronted him in the break room, he didn't even flinch. That smirk was back, softer this time, almost pitying. "Look, the boss needed something polished fast. You were so tired last night, I just helped. You know how you get when you're overwhelmed. This is all you can handle right now." Helped. I laughed, a broken sound that didn't even feel like mine. "You stole it." He sighed like I was being dramatic. "Don't make this ugly. We're a team. What's mine is yours, right?" Then he leaned in and kissed my forehead, right there where anyone could see. "Trust me, I've got us." That night, I couldn't sleep. I opened his laptop while he showered, something I had never done before, and found the emails, not just to our boss, to the client, to the head of the rival agency down the street. He had been feeding them pieces of my work for weeks, positioning himself as the genius, while quietly telling everyone I was too emotional and needed protecting. And then I saw the messages from her, our boss's daughter, the one who controlled the promotion list. Flirty, intimate, plans to celebrate his big win once I was out of the picture. My world cracked open. I sat on the bathroom floor until the sun came up, tears soaking my shirt, chest heaving with sobs I couldn't silence. Everything I had believed about us, about love, about my place on this team, it all felt destroyed. I kept replaying every joke, every smirk, every time I had dimmed my own light so he could shine brighter. But somewhere between the tears and the sunrise, something shifted. The pain didn't disappear. It hardened into clarity, into fury, into a quiet, burning strength I had never touched before. I wiped my face, looked at myself in the mirror, and whispered, "No more." I started working in secret. I rebuilt the entire campaign from scratch, bolder, sharper, more emotionally alive than anything I had ever created. I gathered every screenshot, every email, every timestamp. I practiced my voice until it no longer trembled. Because the girl who once smiled through the humiliation, she was gone. And the woman who rose in her place, she was ready. The day of the final client pitch arrived like a storm. The whole team was there, 20 of us crowded into the sleek boardroom, nerves crackling. Alex stood at the front, confident, charming, launching into his presentation with that same smirk playing on his lips. He gestured to my stolen slides like they were his masterpiece. The boss nodded approvingly. The client leaned forward, impressed. I waited. Then, right as he reached the emotional climax of the deck, the part I had cried writing, he clicked to the next slide. It was blank. A single line appeared in bold black letters. "This is all you can handle." The room went dead silent. Alex's smirk froze. He clicked again. Nothing. His face drained of color. I stood up slowly, heart steady for the first time in months. "Actually," I said, voice calm and clear, "let me show you what I can handle." I walked to the front, plugged in my own drive, and began. Slide after slide unfolded, the real campaign, deeper, braver, more powerful than anything Alex had ever touched. I spoke from the heart about the brand's true story, the one only I had taken the time to understand. The client's eyes lit up. The team sat forward, stunned. And then I did the one thing he never expected. I clicked to the final slides. Screenshots, timestamps, emails, the truth laid bare in cold black and white. The room gasped. Alex tried to speak, voice cracking. This is taken out of context. But the boss cut him off, voice ice cold. "We'll discuss this later, in my office, now." The client stood, applauding. "This," he said, pointing at me, "this is what we came for." By the end of the day, Alex was packing his desk. No promotion, no glowing recommendation, just a security escort to the elevator and the stares of every person he had once belittled. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. That night, I stood on my balcony alone, city lights glittering below me, and let the cool wind brush away the last of the tears I would ever cry over him. The fairy lights were still there. The apartment felt bigger, lighter. Because I finally understood. Betrayal doesn't break you, it reveals you. It shows you exactly who you are when no one is clapping for you. And who I am is someone who rises, someone who creates beauty even after being torn apart, someone who refuses to shrink so others can feel tall. So if you're listening to this and someone in your life is looking at you with that smirk, saying, "This is all you can handle," I want you to hear me. Save the receipts. Build in silence. And when the moment comes, show them exactly what you can handle. Because the most stunning revenge isn't loud. It's you, unbroken, shining brighter than they ever let you believe you could.